As some of you may know, I recently bought a house. I was 23 when it happened, and I've gotten a bit of questions lately asking me about what the process was like. So today I figured I would just kind of take a moment and talk about the whole experience. I want to talk about the process going from apartment living to home ownership, give you a house tour, and then on top of that also, I was able to capture kind of like the live reaction of my agent who sold me the home walking through my house for the first time since I've moved in, done the painting, decorating, furnishing, just to kind of get his reaction. I knew that I wanted to own a house. I didn't know when it would happen, but I definitely did not want to spend the entirety of my life burning money that I will never see again on an apartment versus putting equity into something that I will hopefully get to see again one day. I actually owned real estate before I owned a home to live in, but it was more of a financial investment rather than a living situation. Living wise, I was in two different apartments. One was downtown in Erie. It was definitely a little bit cheaper, a little sketchier. And then the next one, the most recent one before I owned a home, was a little more upscale near the mall in Erie. I really love both of them for their own reasons. The starter apartment when I was 19 downtown in Erie was perfect because of everything that a 19-year-old would need, which is basically nothing. And it was very cheap, as most things are in Erie, and it had enough room for my music studio. It had enough amenities to make me totally happy. But eventually, me and my family more so kind of thought that the area was a little bit less than reputable, so I decided to start looking for something that was in a little bit of a safer area. The next place that I moved, which was by the mall, was extremely safe. It was basically as close as you can get to being in a gated community without being in a gated community. And fun fact, I was actually neighbors with Audra for like a year. She seems to just be following me around everywhere, because I moved into that apartment, then she moved into that apartment, then I left and got a house, and now she just got a house. This place was really nice. It had a gym, it had a pool, it had a cafe. It was a really amazing quality of living, but I just knew that with the way that they were raising rent, even for Erie being so cheap, I was not really gonna put up with continuing to pay more and more. And as Audra can attest, these people who you might call landlords, but I prefer to call them overlords, are not exactly the greatest people. And I'm actually involved in something that very likely will probably become a civil suit against them pretty soon for some unethical practices. So the way things were going, I knew it was time to get out. I also was just getting a little tired of not having control of my living situation and what I wanted to do within it. I'm a very simple man, but there were things like noise complaints or disruptions that I couldn't really avoid whenever I was trying to work on 1st to 11 stuff. There were times I had bands over my apartment that wanted to have me produce them, and bands make noise, and that did not really make other people in the area super happy. Or I'd have people come over that were like screamers for songs, and yeah, that also did not make people very happy. I also didn't like having anything about like repairing holes in the walls for paintings and spackling and sanding and whatever, or taking my trash every week out to a trash compactor. I also didn't like putting in maintenance requests and having to like wait for the maintenance guy to come around after he's done servicing the other apartments, and also just having some random guy kind of walking around in my apartment when I'm not there, maybe a little uneasy. Even though, yes, I know now I have to do all that stuff myself and I can't really just call somebody for some of the things. I actually kind of prefer it that way. It was scary, but I knew that the transition was ready to be made because financially, yes, it was scary, but I knew that I had to start putting my plans for the future into motion. I wasn't really looking for anything crazy in a home. I knew it just had to be a pretty nice starter home. The main thing for me as far as staying within my budget was just making sure that it was a house that I knew didn't actually need anything. To be clear, it's not like I was looking for a house that I wasn't going to try and make nicer, but I was not looking for like a fixer-upper. Just like a relatively small starter home that's not a lot to maintain, so if I have to leave for tour, for example, it's not a complete nightmare. I also knew I was looking for something that is a bit more modern too, even though my heart kind of lies in the whole like, you know, Normandy, European aesthetic style homes. I wanted something that was from like the modern era with modern appliances and infrastructure. I wasn't too concerned with the school district because I don't personally plan on having kids anytime soon, but I did consider it a little bit for the resale value. I also knew that I didn't want to be too far away from work, even though if you know anything about Erie, nothing is very far away. I also was trying to find something that had at least a 1-car garage because the winters here are pretty brutal. Beyond that, I didn't really have any specific requirements for a house. I just kind of wanted to wait for the right one to show up. Fun fact, when I was helping the guy install a fence in my yard, he actually cracked into the foundation of an old house that used to be on this property that belonged to Bill Rothstein. Bill Rothstein was a co-conspirator and the architect for the bomb used in the pizza bombing case. If anybody ever watched Evil Genius on Netflix, It's that guy. Anyway, when I was 18, I started putting a little bit of money away every single month. It wasn't a lot. First 11 was still kind of trying to get established, but a monthly contribution nonetheless, just to get the ball rolling. And then when First 11 was doing well, we would get some bonuses maybe, just trying to split that appropriately to make sure that I'm allocating enough towards savings. Not classify myself as somebody they need to come to for financial advice. I'm a musician after all, not like a financial strategist or anything, but there are a few pieces of advice that if there's anybody younger watching this or just somebody who's looking to get some tips on saving, I feel comfortable passing along as advice. But again, this is not advice. I personally decided to team up with a financial investor through Fidelity when I was 19 to kind of take the reins for me on my finances and investing because he was just a lot more financially literate than me. I didn't and I still don't really place a whole lot of stock into materialistic things because the stock market has just proven to do better more consistently over time. But when I did buy materialistic things, I tried to be a little bit smart about it. When I'd buy something more expensive, like a guitar for example, I tried to think about if it was more of an appreciating or a depreciating asset. It definitely did not stop me from buying something if I really wanted it, but for the most part, I tried to keep it in the back of my head just in case I needed to sell it, which for me personally kind of worked out because I do really like vintage stuff. And vintage stuff does tend to appreciate a little bit more in the music gear community. Biggest advice I can give anybody watching this is to resist the temptation of buying a 911. It's probably my greatest achievement in life. I also opened a business LLC just for like larger earnings that come through in my music career, just to avoid having to pay like the tax rates for like an employee check. But ultimately, I pretty much only have this house because you guys decide to watch and support in my music career. There's no other way to split it, and I've probably said it a million times before. Maybe I sound like a broken record, I don't know, but I mean, just genuinely, thank you guys for always supporting and watching, because it's everything I have pretty much because of the support from people on the internet. Erie is extremely cheap. I was still a little skeptical though at the time about buying a house because even though Erie is cheap, the interest rates on mortgages are just insane right now. I just tried to place my bets on the effects of compounding interest over time, beating the expectations of mortgage rates fluctuating. I'm also reminded of that old saying, you know, the best time to start saving was yesterday. I was pretty confident that interest rates were not gonna be returning to like 2014 levels anytime soon. And I was also pretty confident on the apartment side that rent was going to just be steadily increasing pretty much without any end in sight. So I had to ask myself, do I want to get fucked under somebody else's roof, or do I want to get fucked under my own roof? While finding a house itself can be hell for a lot of people, I'm sure, it actually ended up being pretty simple for me. Found a house that I liked on Zillow, said I wanted a tour, was assigned an agent who ended up being this really awesome guy named Isaac, and he's my age, which I think really helped the process, to be honest. He's really amazing, we still keep in touch, and he was just very relaxed, very easy to work with, very simple, very flexible, all the things that you would want in an agent. The competition for buying a house was not so simple and relaxed. Pretty much every house that I wanted to make an offer on was already gone before my email got submitted. I was able to get one offer off on a house that was gorgeous, but frankly it was probably a little bit too nice for somebody like me. But it didn't even matter because it ended up selling for like way over asking price. And that was actually one of the scariest parts of the whole process. Your agent just kind of tells you, like, you gotta be solid on this. You gotta be all in if you really want this, or else it's probably not gonna happen. It goes against my instinct of being very like calculated, thoughtful, cautious, you know, whatever, but it doesn't really do any good to be soft on an offer. When I made an offer on this house, I was advised to make an escalation clause in my offer, which just means that if it went to a bidding war, I said that I was already comfortable going up to a certain number. And it's a good thing I did, because in the first 24 hours, 15 people had already put offers on it. But I think what actually secured it for me is that Isaac had told me to write a letter, like a personalized letter to the sellers, explaining who I was, my story, why I wanted the house, and it seems a little f***ed up. It seems like you're playing a little bit of a game, but apparently my story won because now I'm in this house. There were two things that made me a little uncomfortable during the process. One was that the sellers were kind of contingent on it not having to go through an inspection. Not that it couldn't pass the inspection, because it did just fine, but they just wanted to get rid of the house quickly. I understand, made me really uncomfortable. I never thought I'd be somebody that would be cool with that, but I happen to know somebody that actually does inspections, and he was able to like kind of pretend being my dad for the day and walk through the house with me and inspect it himself. So that kind of put some of my anxieties at ease. The other thing was I just did not have time to get my insurance policy set up by the time the whole thing got going, and that is my fault. I totally should have just been more on it and made the calls as soon as it happened, but there were like, I think there was 24 hours where technically my house wasn't insured, and I was freaking the out. Like, I was like, no candles, no anything. Like, I basically just stood outside my house and watched it on guard because I was so nervous that something might happen in that 24 hours. As far as personalizing my house, I did not want to do anything that was like demolition centered. I just did simple things, painting, furniture, light fixtures. Most of my stuff I already own from my apartment life, and there's a lot of really good thrift stores in Erie. Amazon also has a really good like lightly used filter you can use in there to get stuff a lot cheaper, and Facebook Marketplace is like, you know, a homeowner's best friend. I really like kind of like the dark, moody style of paint and aesthetic in houses. I'm in no way an interior designer, so, you know, try to be a little bit nice to me in the comment section. But I just knew that I wanted to do some simple things to keep it modern, feeling clean, organized, tidy, but also give it a little bit of character. I didn't want to be one of those like sad beige moms that you see on TikTok. Garage door opener, fence, lighting fixtures, chandeliers, whatever, curtain rods, railings, some extra siding, insurance stuff that I had to do. I also turned one of the rooms in my house into a gym, which is really nice, so I don't have to pay for gym membership anymore. Still want to do some things like, you know, central air. I want to tile the bathroom floor. I want to get some granite countertops, some boxwood hydrangeas, just some like, you know, landscaping. Might want to put in a shed. I know I mentioned this in my birthday video, but it was a little stressful for me to make the choice to buy a house, also because I was committing to staying in Erie for at least another 5 years, at least for it to make like any financial sense. And I have no qualms out here. I have no issues with that. I love it here. It was just stressful because it was like, okay, this is the time to make the choice. If you do want to leave, do you want to stay here? This is kind of where you have to sign your name and figure it all out. And there's no reason for me to leave, especially while First 11 is so alive and active. And now that it's all over, it does kind of give me some peace to know that I've committed to a decision, I made a move, and now I can just work with what I have. And honestly, everything probably just works out in the end anyway. It was also scary to wire over the most amount of money that I ever have in my entire life. That was pretty scary, I'll say. There were some people that through the process made me feel a little bit stupid and uneducated on the whole process, which I was, because it's the first time I ever do it. I tried to do my homework, but there are definitely things that I missed. And I just kind of generally felt like I was looked down upon or condescended a little bit. So I didn't really like that very much either. My agent was amazing. He answered all my questions. He never ever made me feel like I didn't know what I was doing. There were just some other people like closing agents and stuff that it's almost like they made me feel like I wasn't qualified or smart enough to buy a house, I guess. I learned through this whole ordeal that it was definitely best that I started saving early. While I cannot say that with the benefit of time, empirically it made the most sense to buy a house during the period of time where interest rates are this high. I can say that with rent increasing more and more, it started to look like a less stupid idea by the day. If you're still on the fence about becoming a homeowner, you might want to look into Jeanette McCurdy's perspective on the whole thing. She's a very successful child actress. She was Sam from iCarly, and Sam and Cat has lots and lots of money, as you can imagine, but she actually still decides to live in an apartment. She used to live in a home and she hated it. She didn't like having to deal with like the maintenance and upkeep of a home and property taxes and whatever. But I mean, you should just be educated on another perspective because it might not make sense for everybody. I do personally believe that for most people, it's probably to have your money coming back to you at some point, or at least be putting into something that has some equity that you can just sell later, because you can't sell an apartment. But again, it's just something you have to assess for yourself. If you're not gonna buy a house, you should buy a 911, is I think the only real piece of advice that I'm trying to give you. But anyway, that's enough of my yapping. I wanna show you guys the house tour and also show you Isaac's reaction to kind of seeing my place for the first time since it's been painted, everything. I'm gonna be trying to splice them in between because we did not do a very thorough walkthrough when he was here, but I went back later and tried to get some more details. So anyway, thanks for watching. Okay, you have voiceover from Sam and Riley. This is what it looks like when you walk into the house. I think it looks tan. Riley,
it's actually pink.
It's actually tan. I'm also on FaceTime because I'm giving somebody else a house tour who wanted one, but this is what it looks like. And now here comes Isaac. Yeah, man. Thanks for coming by.
Absolutely. This looks awesome.
Yeah, dude, I was gonna say, you haven't been here since then, so.
Dude, your house looks awesome outside too.
Yeah, thanks, man.
Out.
Yeah, thanks, I appreciate it.
I picked the color of those walls. Sam wanted to pick another one, but he was wrong.
Yeah, I was wrong. But anyway, that's our dining table. It's from 1934. And that's our chandelier, and that's a piece of artwork that my sister did. She's a studio art major, so.
Sam got me the table for my birthday.
Yeah. Okay, now we're in the kitchen. Those are, oh, we kind of missed them, but those four things on the wall were notes from the previous seller that they left for us.
I love the paint color.
These were the notes that the previous owners left.
No way.
When we were putting in the fence, we found a foundation, and we were like, I wonder what that's from. And that was Bill Rothstein's old house, from the guy who helped build the pizza bomb.
No way.
Yeah. And now we're about to start leaving the kitchen.
That's my horse.
it's your horse picture. Now we're going to the living room and flex on everybody with the Dyson V12.
That was another good birthday gift.
Yeah, obviously. Here's the coat closet. Supposed to put washer and dryer there, and turns out we could not. This is the pink bathroom.
I painted that bathroom.
Yes, you did. You did paint the bathroom. Okay, cool. And now we're going to pan around to a picture of what are not flamingos.
We definitely thought those were flamingos for a good month.
Yeah, just because pink bird brain association.
Of course.
This is what our patio looks like. We got there with the cats in the little cat condo.
Dude, this looks awesome.
That's the living room.
Those are my naked ladies.
That's where we live. We got that for free at the thrift store. Remember, they just like gave it to us.
Yeah.
Doug DeMuro, obviously. Hey, who didn't Doug DeMuro just shout somebody out on his podcast, Riley?
It was you.
He did shout me out. And those are Halloween decorations that are already gone.
Because it's Christmas.
It's not Christmas. We still have Thanksgiving to go to.
Porsche pictures I got you for your birthday.
True, that was a great birthday gift. Okay, now we're walking upstairs. And
my uncle had to paint this staircase because we are little and we can't reach.
Yeah, we are kind of little. Don't look at our bathroom floor. It's ugly. I did not put that there. It was there when we got there.
He actually tried to punch
No,
me.
You can't say that.
So horrible.
No, you can't say that.
Decor.
That's how it happened. No, it was just there when we got there. This is the paint, or this is the master bedroom. This is the paint color that my mom hates.
Yeah. She wasn't too happy about that.
That's okay. It's too many. There's a small ass TV. We should get a bigger TV.
That's actually the bigger one, but okay.
I know, but on that wall we should get a.
That's my dresser.
Yeah.
My mommy got me for that. My mommy
Do you
got
wanna try
me
that
that.
again? Nice. Again, that was in the door when we got there. Okay, anyway.
Oh, nice little workout room. I love those corner lights.
We had to be quiet there. Wait, this is a gym. We pump iron.
This is my gym because I paid for the majority of things in here, and Sam is a freeloader and he uses it.
Okay, well, I bought the house, so who's freeloading who?
Those are my shoes.
Yeah, Riley's dancer. This is a studio.
Live in here.
Isaac said he'd live in here. Believe it when I see it. These are the tour posters. A lot of the stuff I already talked about in my old studio tour. I should probably make a new one.
Sam's mom also didn't like this paint color.
Yeah, she definitely did not like that pink color. That's okay. Who hung up the guitars?
Me, I did.
That's the whole reason you're on this voiceover, just so you can say that.
I wanted credit.
There's our backyard again. Oh my gosh, is that why they're called? No, sorry.
Huh?
I was thinking about the backyardigans. Wait, okay, that's a vintage radio. I'm having a dumb thought. Ignore me. That's my vintage radio that I need to sell.
You should buy it so we can get rid of it.
Yeah, if somebody wants
I
it.
got you a little something.
Oh, thank you, dude.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Cool.
Dude, that's super nice. Thank you very much.
Yeah, absolutely.
I really appreciate
Absolutely.
that. Any other final thoughts in the house?
I love our house so much.
It's a nice house. Do granite. We're gonna
Sam's gonna do granite.
paint the basement. We're gonna.
I have no money.
Okay. All right. See you guys.